find myself having so much that I want to say. And I want there to be some sort of cohesiveness in the message that I share, in the videos that I record. And I don't know how to quite do that other than to share consistently, and maybe those that watch and listen are able to thread that connection through my thoughts. So this video is an extension of the one I shared about the wound with the mother. Since the beginning of 2025, I've been finding my way to a path, going deeper and deeper into brahmacharya, which is celibacy, along with watching my thoughts, watching my eyes, and not giving myself pleasure with my hands. And after I started this, I realized I need to be sober. I can't be microdosing medicines that help me feel good. And then I realized my addiction to coffee was taking me to a place of comfort, of habitual comfort. And that comfort being a layer of anxiety. It's been about 2 months since I've had coffee. So what's been happening with these practices of letting go of the things that make me feel good is all of my fears, insecurities, sensitivities, attachments, repulsions, anger have been rising up to the surface, been coming straight into my awareness, been coming straight into my just the things I think about. And without the things that make me feel good, and without diving into work or diving into the gym, I'm feeling everything. And then I have a few different groups that I'm a part of. And for some reason, it feels good to be the one that shares as much depth, openness, honesty, and transparency as I can. Sometimes I think, what about a therapist? What about someone to talk to? I talk to my friends. I talk to the people in my groups. I record videos and put them in the groups. And this is another extension of all that. Putting my voice, putting myself out there. Sharing my journey. It was around 2007, 2008. I found a book. It was left in a box. It was in a closet. And the author was Deepak Chopra. And every time I opened this book and read from it, I could read a sentence or a paragraph, and I could process the truth with just that small message for hours. And I found myself smoking cannabis to open my mind, to relax my body, to allow a depth to come in that I couldn't find when I was sober. And I find myself many years later, that depth is just the normal for me. That amount of openness comes with sobriety. And so I want to follow up on that first video and talk about what it's like to be me, relating to my mom, and really my family as a whole, my friends, my coworkers, everyone that I know. I'm realizing that the relationship I have with me, the way I talk about myself, the way I feel about myself, when I don't have anything else to make me feel good, that's the most important thing. Because when people don't get back to me, or when plans fall through, or when relationships dissolve, what if I don't run away into my friendship circles? What if I don't run away into work, or into the gym, or into outside activities? What if I sit in my room in the darkness? What if I sit under the tree? And so I look at all these relationships, each one being a touch point of joy, a touch point of sharing compassion, a touch point for sharing gratitude. Each person being a point of being able to see myself in a different way. That internal relationship that I have with my mom, for the first time this week, for the first time happening this week, for the first time in my life happening this week, I realize my mom, she's like everyone else. She's a little girl living her life the best that she can. And how can I be a person that is sweet, kind, caring, gentle, compassionate? And if things come up that bother me, which that happened with a brother of mine this past week, I got angry. And I sat with it. And I realized that feeling was the same feeling I've had in so many relationships, with friends, with lovers, with family members, with strangers. And I realized there was a sliver of peace. And all I needed to do was let go of what I wanted, of what I wanted to hear, of how I wanted it to be, so then my mind would be at peace. I just needed to let that go. And the day after I let it go, I called him. And I thanked him. I thanked him for allowing me to feel angry, allowing me to see that part of me that wants to control. That wants certain things to be a certain way because there's a story that says that's the way it should be. Just let that go. So I find myself in this place, in this moment, right now, appreciating this depth of peering into things, taking time and space to drop down into it, to see that these feelings and emotions, many of them truly come from almost the same place within me. And the mind tricking me into thinking this person this and that person that and this relationship this other thing, and it's just not that way. So these traumas and these wounds, they're simply being reflected over and over and over. And for the longest time, I would say the words, this doesn't resonate, that doesn't resonate. And that was the top-down method. That was the top-down of, I have this idea, and so if it doesn't align, no. And I'm finding this path of more leaning in to understanding other, to not holding my thoughts of how things should be so strong. Maybe letting words be spoken into my field that I don't like, and maybe to not correct them. There's another message I want to share, and I feel it's very important. The words semen retention, or SR, have been becoming more and more popular. And I've been finding other men around the world that have been going very deep into this. When I say brahmacharya, that is a yogic Indian word. Brahma meaning divine, and charya meaning path. A part of me knew what that word meant before looking it up. I knew it meant celibacy, but I didn't know what true celibacy means. I started to find out that people from India, sometimes when you say words like that, it may have a lot of meanings in a lot of different ways. Example being, maybe I take it too literally. Maybe I take it all the way to the depth of it. And for me, that's okay. Because for me, I want to know its full essence, its full bandwidth. And that particular word coming through into me, how do I, as an individual, as a unique individual, express that? And the humility that comes with, I am simply unique. And there is nothing profoundly special about that uniqueness aside from it's unique. And maybe that has profound value for others. And maybe I can see that value is enough to record maybe more long form videos and to post them publicly. With this current growth and popularity of SR, men talking about their experiences of not using porn, masturbation, an orgasm, PMO, not using PMO to distract himself. Retaining their seed and allowing the semen to mature in the body, allowing the semen time to grow up, to be more in resonant with the rest of the body. And it is not difficult. I should say, it is difficult so far to retain the seed and to allow them to mature for something like 45, 60 plus days, for that energy to calm itself, because it's potent. And unfortunately, boys, as far as I know, if anyone knows anywhere that there are fathers teaching their sons or young men about this, please let me know. But as far as I know, the path of retaining the seed is not taught to young men. When young men begin to experience this potency being created from within their bodies, they don't know what to do with it. We're not taught to breathe with it. We're not taught to move the energy up. So many things in society encourages us to push things down. And so there's almost a primal instinct to push down and out and to short circuit the energy into an orgasm. And with that short circuit comes some sort of pleasure and a portal of temporary freedom. And in the Gnostic texts, it is described as down and out as being death. If you've ever heard of having a moment of clarity after spilling the seed, I've been thinking of that as a death and a forgetting, a reset, even a letting go. And the letting go being a letting go of lust. Because if we put that temporary experience of pleasure and freedom at the top, we just put death at the top of things that we want. I created a new script for myself, a new direction. I put healing at the top of what I want. And that not only includes myself, but that includes everyone that I come in contact with. I've been thinking, how much harmony can I create within my world? And in terms of a romantic partner, how can I put healing at the top of our relationship? How does healing get shared in the relationship? In how many ways can I show up as an individual sharing healing? The foundation of that must be me and my healing and the relationship with myself and the relationship I have with all the things around me and the relationship I have with my parents. How do I feel about the relationship I have with my mom? Am I at complete happiness with it? And if I'm not, what do I need to do to change my perception to change my feelings, to change the way I respond to any and every stimulus about my mom? How can I update that to be harmonious? Let's go a level deeper. I learned recently from a dear sister that when you pray to water, you pray to all of the water that's ever existed and will exist and is currently existing. And with the dissolving of the world, the dissolving of my reality, I've come to see that the relationship with my mom is the same relationship I have with my sisters, varying degrees, is the same relationship I have with all women, is the same relationship I have with my lovers. I look at how I show up. I look at the boundaries that I have with the feminine. And I go through the same process with the masculine. I look at trust. I look at faith. I look at appreciation. And I try to find harmony. And if I seek, I shall find. As long as I don't attach to some sort of specific outcome that I create in my mind in the beginning. I seek to understand, not to be understood. I seek to understand. Within that, at some point, in my own mind, I will come to the point that I feel I understand them. And the next level of that, do they actually feel understood? I've been doing this, and people have been telling me that they feel seen. And that makes me feel really warm inside. That brings tears to my eyes. Because maybe for a moment they don't feel so lonely. They don't feel that the world is so cold. Seek to understand, not to be understood.